Worth 36 million over 2 years? Don't think so. Just don't think so. Hello, Steeler Nation, and welcome to your latest episode of your Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate with me, your host, Britsburgh Owen, speaking to you here in the UK, guys. A very cold, very dingy UK. Well, if you've just found the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, well, hit that sub, bring that notification bell. Remember, it's free, guys. In this age where everything costs a fortune, where nothing is free, this is free. Great daily content on your Pittsburgh Steelers every day. Live streams, podcasts. You get to listen to an Englishman and an Australian talk about Pittsburgh Steelers. Hit that sub, bring that notification bell, and give this video a like to help with our YouTube algorithm. But guys, I want to talk about Diontae Johnson today. I want to call out Diontae Johnson. I want to basically state that, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, and feel free to disagree, that he is not worth the money that the Steelers are paying him. That the worst thing they could have done was pay him $36 million over 2 years. I'd rather pay Juju $36 million over 2 years. Juju was more reliable, dropped less balls, didn't go missing in big games, had more mental strength than Diontae Johnson. Diontae Johnson is a prima donna. Diontae Johnson is a drama queen. Diontae Johnson is mentally weak. He is what we call in England a bottle job. I think you would call him a choker in America. Now, where does this all come from? Well, it comes from obviously this incident that happened on Sunday in Atlanta, where George Pickens got himself very, very upset due to the lack of number of targets. In particular, this incident here where he stormed off the field after the Diontae Johnson fumble. And it was a fumble. The refs saved him. The fumble that could have cost the Steelers the game in the end. Once again, Diontae Johnson coming up big for the Steelers in the wrong way. George Pickens was heard to utter this: "Come on, man, throw me the bleeping ball," he was seen to be saying as he left the field. And I understand George Pickens' frustrations. I understand where he's coming from. Perhaps it wasn't right for him to react in that way. Perhaps he shouldn't have reacted in that way. But at the end of the day, I can understand this guy's frustrations. George Pickens this season has done nothing but prove to the Steelers coaching staff, to Steelers fans, and to the NFL media in general that he is the best receiver on this roster. You throw him the ball, he catches the ball. He puts highlight reel throws. He catches touchdown passes, something Diontae Johnson has not done at all this season. I'll get to Diontae Johnson's stats in a minute, so hang on for that. George Pickens is reliable. He is a big weapon. He is probably the most talented receiver the Pittsburgh Steelers have had since Antonio Brown. And in my opinion, there are echoes of Stallworth and Swan about Pickens' ability as well. The way he jumps and leaps reminds me very much of Lynn Swan. The way when he catches and runs reminds me very much of John Stallworth. He is an exceptionally talented individual. And like I said, is, in my opinion, the real wide receiver one on this franchise. Do I blame Johnson for the fact he's not getting targeted? Probably not. I'd probably blame Canada more. Why is Canada not throwing the ball to his most effective weapon, his most effective wide receiver? Why is he not throwing in the ball? I just simply don't understand. He needs to get the ball to Pickens more often. He needs to throw the ball less to Diontae Johnson. Now, on Sunday, Diontae Johnson had 11 targets. Pat Freiermuth, who was the most effective receiver on the field, had 5 targets, catching 3 of them and averaging over 25 yards per reception, including that 57-yard reception that would have resulted in a touchdown had Gunnar Olszewski not run backwards. Had actually he behaved as a lead blocker and gone forwards, he could have opened the field for Freiermuth to run and score a touchdown. So Freiermuth was by far the most effective, had only 5 targets. George Pickens, who has been the most effective wide receiver this year, arguably, had 2 targets. And Diontae Johnson, who has been largely ineffective this season, had 11 targets. And he didn't catch even 50% of them, had less than 100 yards, and again, a very poor yards per catch average. Johnson's yards per catch average over an entire season. I know you can say to me, well, we had a career year last year. Yes, he did in terms of number of TDs and number of yards, but in terms of yards after catch and yards per reception, he was very, very poor indeed and did not compare in any way, shape, or form to the top wide receivers in the NFL. He did not compare to Devontae Adams, to Justin Jefferson, to Stephon Diggs, to Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Hunter Renfrow. The list goes on. He didn't compare in any way, shape, or form in yards after catch or yards per reception to any of those top receivers. Johnson is not a wide receiver one. He will never be a wide receiver one. So his drops are obviously an issue. He's dropped one blatant touchdown pass this year. He missed that crosser. He was on the crosser on Sunday. He dropped that pass. Had he caught that, he had the whole of the sideline to go. He probably could have scored. He fumbled the ball on Sunday and was saved by the referees. And yet he got the most receptions. Why? Because he cried after the Bengals games that he wasn't getting enough receptions. He cried. So the Steelers played to this drama queen. They let him have most of the targets. And what did they get? A close game that didn't need to be a close game had we actually schemed and thrown to the most effective receivers on the team, Freiermuth and Pickens. Throw the ball to those two. That game would have been gone. It would have been done. It wouldn't have been a 3-point game at the end of the game. The Steelers would have won that game by 14, 15, 16, 17 points by the end of that game had they actually targeted Pickens and Freiermuth more and not the absolute joke that is Diontae Johnson. Let's look at those stats this year. 61 receptions ties him 16th in the league. 565 yards, 43rd. 0 touchdowns, and again, averaging less than 10 yards per catch, ranks him 106th in the NFL in terms of people who receive the ball, in terms of tight ends and wide receivers. That is shocking. That is poor. That is Diontae Johnson all over. Now, the other thing, obviously, as well about Diontae Johnson is the fact that he goes missing in big games. I've said in a number of videos, after the Bengals game, I joked that someone needed to phone the Pittsburgh police and take out a missing persons report on him. During the Bills game, he didn't show up at all. During the Eagles game, he went missing. During the Bengals game, he went missing. Last season, in the playoffs game against the Chiefs, he was poor, dropping balls, not showing up. During the Chiefs game in the regular season, again, poor, not showing up, dropping balls. Every time we face a big game, the Ravens game, the end of last season, again, poor, dropped balls, didn't show up. Every time the Steelers have a big game, a game against an opponent that is a tough opponent that matters, Diontae Johnson goes missing, constantly goes missing. He hasn't got it in the big game. As soon as we get into a big game, we get from Diontae Johnson. Now, Chase Claypool's gone. The scapegoat's gone. That's the man who got a lot of the criticism last season and was getting it at the start of this season. Diontae Johnson has singularly failed to live up to the fact that they've paid this guy top receiver money. Yes, I know it doesn't compare to Adams or Hill, thank God, because he's not in the same class as them, but $18 million he is due in 2024. $18.5 million. Is this man worth $18.5 million? God, no. No way is he worth $18.5 million. Like I said to you, I'd rather have paid Juju Smith-Schuster that money. At least the guy can catch and doesn't go missing in big games. If if Juju was still under contract to the Chiefs, I'd say swap them. Give the Chiefs Johnson and we'll have Juju back. That's how committed I am to this. Honestly, guys, I'm calling out Diontae Johnson now. I'm asking him, can you live up to that money? Can you show us that you are a true wide receiver in the NFL? You know, yeah, you get open. Yeah, you're an elite route runner. You might be an elite route runner, but you can't catch the ball, can you? And you can't do it in big games. I mean, what's he going to do? Block me on Twitter? He's already blocked me on Twitter anyway. He doesn't like me. I don't care. Diontae Johnson is a bum. And until he steps up and starts to show that he is anything other than a complete and utter bum, I'm going to continue to call him out. I'm someone who believes you should work hard for your money. And I believe Diontae Johnson is stealing a living this year from the Pittsburgh Steelers. This guy needs to step up. He needs to step up and prove that he is worth this money. Stop dropping the ball. Stop going missing in games. Stop crying when you don't get the ball. Stop giving it all this. Behave like a man, Diontae Johnson. Behave like a man. Behave like a Pittsburgh Steeler and show up. Well, that's my thoughts, Steeler Nation. And let me know in the comments what you think of Diontae Johnson this season. I'd love to get rid of him at the end of this season. I think he should be gone. Trade him away. Get him some draft capital for him, even if it's just a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick, because that's all he's worth. Thank you for watching the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and come and join the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate family. Here we go, Steelers. Come on!